Welcome back to World Beater Wrestling. Today we're going through a Cazadora from a hip toss counter into a crab ride, which is a traditional jiu-jitsu type transition. You can go into chokes, arm bars, and plenty of submissions from there. So with this one, instead of going into the regular Cazadora or wheelbarrow where people will just run and jump up, I find that this is it's a more seamless way into it. It doesn't look so contrived, and it's actually quite easy to post and to base for them. So with this one, your partner's actually going for a hip toss. So as they come through, I'm going to post off their shoulder, all right? So left arm comes around as we would for a traditional hip toss, except my right hand is posting off the shoulder. This allows me to shoot myself up. I kick my right leg in, my left leg around into that wheelbarrow position. Now for this one particularly, you could go straight through, but I find that you need that space. So once we get to the wheelbarrow, we push around, we get to the wheelbarrow. I like to get a little bit of pop up to create space. And then as we roll through, we're actually going to shoot both hands through the legs, which will allow us to basically go behind and end up in this position. Okay, so if you've rolled through with the right positioning, you should end up here. What I like to also tell the people I work with is, as you're taking it, take a couple of steps forward. Because if you don't take a couple of steps forward, what often happens is you roll through and you end up here. The problem is we need our knees behind the backs of their legs to hit the crab ride. Now what the crab ride is I'm sticking my shins into the back of their kneecaps. I'm using my hands on the hips just to isolate, and I'm using my shins or my legs to push out. What that does is that removes their base, it kicks their legs out, and they end up in this seated position, makes them vulnerable for chokes and all sorts. So here, crab ride position, grab the waist, shins in, pull back, and push up. All right, so there's that little pull of the hips, and then there's that kicking the legs out, remove their base. Easy one is to get your hooks, slide in for the rear naked, but there are also plenty of other submissions. One really good one is an arm bar. So once I get to this position, I've kicked the legs out, underhook with the right arm. If you're going to attack this side, my right hook comes in, my left leg is going to come over the top. But rather than just searching for it with my leg, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push away with my free hand. So push away on the face, which allows me to get that leg over quite easy. From here, heels come back in like you're doing a hamstring curl. Your arm slides up. You can either go hand to wrist, or you can go arm over the top if you want to get a tighter grip. But in grappling, we want thumbs to the sky to get the tap, pulling that elbow joint over one of my hips. So in a pro wrestling sense, if you do want to look after your partners, just make sure you aren't hyperextending over your own hip with their thumb to the sky. All right, keep it pinned and get the tap from there. Now, one little tip, one little cue with the Cazadora. Again, just another thing that I see doesn't get done quite well a lot of the time. When people are basing for the Cazadora, I see them wrap around almost like a waist lock grip. But instead of grabbing around the waist, we want to hook around the waist, but keep our grip up high. So if we were in this position, as we come up, instead of having my hands here, where their upper torso could fold over, I'm going to wrap around, but keep my grip high. This kind of provides just a little bit of a post, a little bit of a base, just a little bit more lift for my partner. And when you get the timing right, it's so much more efficient. So just to show you how that works, if we're coming off, countering the hip toss, you'll see grip up nice and high.